Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Coletrain interviews. I'm your host, Coletrain. This is now another virtual interview. We haven't done a virtual one in a while. And I have this honor and privilege to sit down with Kaz of United Kingdom Wrestling. We'll talk about what that is in just a few minutes' time. But Kaz, first off, how are you doing? It is now 2025. How excited are you to be in the new year, man?
I'm very privileged, bro. Like I'm happy. 2025, I think might be a big year for wrestling in general. So I'm just excited, all excited, all good vibes over here.
Absolutely, man. Me too. I think that this will probably be one of the best years for wrestling. A lot is going down. John Cena's retirement,
hmm
Goldberg's retirement, in quotation marks. He said he's done after this year. Big WrestleMania season. WWE's on Netflix. It's a lot of stuff going on in WWE,
A lot of moving
AEW.
parts.
Yeah, AEW's got that brand new TV deal starting their first year of that, so they have extra money. So there's a lot of stuff going on in wrestling. I'm really excited to see what 2025 brings. Um, First question for you, Kaz. Though we're gonna get start talking about you. So let's talk about your journey into wrestling. What got you into professional wrestling? And then we'll lead into the games after that.
Okay, so it's actually a very unique story. And I love telling how like I got into wrestling because I think it's a very unique thing that not a lot of people go through.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think everybody could tell. I hear it all the time from my accent. You can tell I'm from down south in the United States. You can tell it. And
Absolutely.
um
I'm assuming South
and
Carolina.
Alabama.
Hello. That was my
Uh,
second choice.
um so down here it was promoted a lot on TV because they were based in Orlando for a long time and then Nashville. TNA was
Mm-hmm.
promoted a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. So my first introduction into wrestling, I probably saw some stuff from WWE when I was really young and just don't remember it. But my first real introduction on a weekly basis of a product was TNA. It was,
Wow.
yes, on a weekly basis. I didn't start watching WWE on a weekly basis first. It was TNA. And it was when Hogan and Bischoff had taken over to compete with WWE on the Monday Night Wars.
Oh boy,
I,
that was a painful time of TNA when you started watching.
I probably saw some stuff before that, probably. Because it's hard to pinpoint like what episode exactly. But
Yeah.
I remember like one of my first big wrestling members is a Bobby Roode heel turn on James Storm. Like all the big, I remember all the big stuff.
Oh yeah, when Beer
And
Money disbanded, that was the
yeah,
first one.
that's one of my biggest memories watching live. But yeah, I feel like it's a unique story. I feel like everybody has the story of like they started watching WWE first and all that stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, like
Everybody that I've interviewed on the podcast so far that have done this series have said they started watching WWE either in the 90s, 80s, or the 2000s. So you are the first person I've talked to that said TNA with Hogan and Bischoff got you into professional wrestling. JW, shout out to JW by the way. He will love to have a conversation with you because he loves him some TNA. So I'm pretty sure y'all will get along very,
yeah,
very well.
we've had a couple of conversations about it. He was very excited when I said that. And like some of my like greatest of all time, you asked me like who my greatest of all time is. I have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of like childhood memories of like AJ Styles and
Yeah.
James Storm
Oh man.
and even to a point like some guys that probably shouldn't be in that list that I just remember having like such great characters. Like EC3 wasn't the greatest in ring, but when he first debuted, his character was money immediately.
He was fantastic, bro.
Like from debut. Like I haven't seen somebody like have their character so nailed down immediately. And
Mm-hmm.
he like the way he portrayed it to the audience, the nepotism like type character, it worked. It worked. And I loved it.
Oh man, that is great. So after you got exposed to TNA, I'm assuming like a couple years later you started watching WWE. Around the time period, do you remember what time period you started watching
Um
WWE?
it has kind of impacted like who my favorite of all time is. Like
Mm-hmm.
I would say the greatest wrestler in my opinion of all time is AJ Styles, like in ring and stuff. But my favorite,
I agree.
is Kristen Cage.
Wow.
That's and the time period is right after Edge's retirement, or right around when Edge was doing that final little run on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
Then he had to retire, and then Christian got the championship. That timeline is around when I started watching.
Oh wow! So yeah, I remember. So this is 2011 post WrestleMania 27. So you missed the terrible WrestleMania. Good for you because that WrestleMania sucked. Uh, but that was a very interesting time in WWE. That they were like really going hardcore PG. No, not necessarily hardcore PG, but it was like leaning more into that family friendly vibe, especially from like '09 to 11. That's around Super Cena, so you caught that period. Um, yeah. What else happened in 2011? That was, I think.
Um, One of my I think I started watching a bit before WrestleMania 27 though, because I have some memories of like some Nexus stuff, and that was 2010. But
Yeah,
so I don't know. I have like
the
because
core was
I
the thing in 2011. I remember that.
11, yeah, the core, the Royal Rumble. Because
That
I
they
want to
did
say the first pay per view I ever watched, like actually paid for, because remember when you had to go on like the
sixty
website?
dollars. I remember in
Yeah,
pay it was
yeah,
$60.
yeah. You had to go drop $60, and WrestleManias I think were more because I think
They
certain
were
pay per
80.
views, yeah, they were more, and you had to. Because I remember buying it, and that was the first event we ever bought, and had Edge and Del Rio on that.
It was
I think
Edge's
Miz, I think
last
Miz and Cena
WrestleMania
were
match
main.
until recently. Yeah,
Yeah, I think Miz and Cena were main event. I might
they
be
were.
wrong. Yeah, yeah, that is it. Then yeah, that's the card.
And that was the Undertaker and
And Triple H.
Triple H, the end of an era part one. They did a two-parter, so that was the first match. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, you still caught some gems at
Yeah,
that time period in 2011. It wasn't all bad, but you know, it did like
it would
after
give
20
it would get
worst
so much worse.
2012.
2012. I that's like pre AEW WWE was so bad. Like right before, that's why I feel like AEW got so popular immediately, is because people were so hungry for something different.
Exactly. I think like really it got really bad in 2018. That's when my
Mm-hmm.
dad stopped watching. He hasn't watched since WrestleMania 34. He took me to WrestleMania 34. I went there live in New Orleans because I live in Louisiana. So
Mm-hmm.
I was there live in New Orleans, and that was the last show he's ever watched. And I asked him how the show was. He said it was okay. The main event sucked. He hated the main event. He thought it was stupid. He thought that most of the matches were bland and boring, and he hasn't watched wrestling since. I'm the only one in my family, I believe, that still keeps up with the product.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin, who I started YouTube with, he's on and off now. He's like almost eight. He's like 18 now. Like as a child, he was like infatuated with it. Like we were both mega fans as kids. But like as
Mm-hmm.
he gotten older, he's starting to phase out too. My uncle's the same way. They because my dad and uncle introduced me to the product of
Mm-hmm.
professional wrestling, and they started buying me the games. That's how I really started becoming a wrestling fan because of them watching older wrestling shows, and obviously like buying the video games kept me as a fan. Um, but they have fizzled out as they've aged, and I'm the only one that constantly still keeps up with it. And I think the only reason why I like really keep up with it to a fault is because I do YouTube. I'm gonna be honest. Like honestly, if you can, if I didn't really have that YouTube drive, I probably will only watch once a month just to say, okay, if I'm free, I'll watch this pay per view. I don't really buy the AEW shows. I if I somebody gives me a stream or somebody like buys it for me or something. If they really want me to watch it, I'm being straight up with you guys. My fans know that already. I don't watch the pay per views unless I physically like I'm very interested. I'll drop the money. But if I'm not that interested in it, I'm gonna catch a stream. I'm
That
gonna sit here and tell y'all this right now. Tony Khan can listen to me right now. I'll catch a stream, you know. But yeah,
because
that's my little story on wrestling.
with and now thinking about it, that's probably my real introduction as a wrestling fan to wrestling is the video games because I remember
Mm-hmm.
playing video games like really young because I like I said I started like watching the product in probably like 2011 2010, but I was
Mm-hmm.
playing like Here Comes the Pain with my sister when I was like 4 or 5 years old. Like I'm real young at that point. So that's probably my real introduction are the games. And I feel like a lot of people, if they actually sit down and think about it, probably have the same story. As a lot of their introduction probably is the video games first,
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine.
Yeah,
And
I
then
didn't.
because
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I, yeah, I would because I would imagine guys like play the video games a little bit, see some guys, and then they find WWE and they're like, oh, I played him on the game. I'm gonna like him. Like Rey Mysterio is so much of like he stands out differently when you're scrolling through the roster menu on the old games. Then I feel like that's a real reason like his popularity is so massive is because he stood out in the games and then people became such big fans and stuff.
Absolutely. So you said that you started playing the games with Here Comes the Pain. What year that came out again? I don't even know if I
Um,
was that oh
so
two
it
or
was yeah that like I was born in 2001, so a lot of my games, but my sister was born in '95, so
oh, so she had some of them.
yeah, that's my thing. Like my first console I ever owned that was just mine was a Game Boy Color. So like I'm like I played like retro systems like years after they came out. So
Gotcha,
like
gotcha.
I did play some updated stuff, like some of my favorite games all time of like the Assassin's Creed franchise and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there are like a lot of my games I played growing up were retro games that she was into and stuff. So that was kind of a thing for me.
Okay. Yeah. I was born in '03, so my first official console that I owned myself was the PlayStation 2. My dad had a GameCube. He had the first like Nintendo 64. I think he had. So I played those retro games from the '90s from him. But like the first console that I owned was the PS2, and my first WWE game was, I believe it was SmackDown versus Raw 2008. That was the first WWE game I bought. I asked for it for Christmas. I thought because I seen it on a commercial on TV or watching TV one day. I said that looks great, and I asked for it for Christmas, and that was the first WWE game I ever owned was SmackDown versus Raw 2008, and I have bought the WWE games ever since. I have not missed a WWE game since 2007. Every year they come out, I buy them. I have been a loyal fan to well, technically to Take Two Interactive companies. I've been loyal to Rockstar Games, and I've been loyal to the WWE games for the last all my life. Ever since I first started, the first Rockstar game I bought, I buy everything Rockstar. Anything Rockstar releases, I'm buying. It's the same way with the WWE games. I buy them all. The only one I did not buy was the Battlegrounds one. That's the only game I missed.
I was just about to ask that. I
But
was just
any mainline game,
mm-hmm.
they got my 60 and now 75 or $80 depending on the edition. They get my money every year. It comes out of my account every year. Um,
Me and my
those are
oh go
go
ahead,
ahead.
sorry.
Yeah, those are my like two loyal companies. Now I am loyal to Ubisoft too. I buy them. I buy the Assassin's Creed games, even though I'm behind like 4 games, but it's because of life. But I love the Assassin's Creed games. I just need to finish them. They're so doggone long, man. Like, oh my god,
Every game is long.
Jesus, man.
Like the original idea and concept were to have um I don't know if you know who Ezio is,
I
but
do.
okay, the original idea I believe that was to have him play in like just be one game. But the concept and idea they had for his character was way too long, so they ended up spacing it out into 3 games.
Yes, those were the first 3 games I ever played too. Love
Yeah,
those games, by the way.
genuinely might be. and I say this because I love me some Arthur Morgan. I love me some different of these video game characters. Ezio genuinely might be the greatest fleshed out video game character because, and I guess it's kind of unfair because you only got one game with Arthur versus three games with
Yeah,
Ezio. So,
I
but
think yeah, I agree. You know, Arthur Morgan was written so great. Like
mm-hmm.
I feel like he was for one game, he was fleshed out amazingly. And Rockstar, I don't know how. I commend them from getting all of that on the PS4
Mm-hmm.
and Xbox One. I really commend them for doing that. That was technologically impressive. But I have to agree. I think Ezio is probably my favorite like mainline protagonist in any single player game I've ever played. Like genuinely well written. I think the second one is probably Arthur Morgan, and my third one is CJ from GTA San Andreas. That's my top three. If you're gonna ask me who's my favorite protagonist I've ever played as in gaming, it's those three for single player wise.
I think, but I feel like I said, I think Ezio might have an unfair advantage because of how many games he had. But
Yeah,
then again, I feel like Arthur might have an advantage too because his was free roam, and you can get his opinions on things by just walking through a street of a city, where
right.
you wouldn't get that with Ezio because everything was like cutscene based.
Exactly. So
So I
so
feel
yeah,
like they kind of level.
level the playing field because I feel like Arthur had more depth because Ezio was 3 games. So you have to like really pay attention in those 3 games to really understand his depth. And the third game, I think like they were like trying to cover up some loose ends, and they did miss some things. I ain't gonna lie, but I mean overall, I think they fleshed it out, and I think that was probably Ubisoft's best trilogy they've ever had, honestly. Because everything
And
else afterwards has been, I don't know.
it's kind of interesting too, like how beloved Ezio is, and like a lot of the fan base doesn't like Desmond. That's kind of interesting to me
I
because
don't. They're both the same thing to me.
they're both like, but I get it because people say like I've heard people say like playing those games they didn't like playing like the modern day missions, like where you would have to go through and do like the modern stuff and you'd have to like jump like
Yeah, yeah. It's just that the game design of the Assassin's Creed games are very different. And like I said, they're longer. Like look at Assassin's Creed Shadows. That's a long game. I heard it's long. Like
I
very
haven't.
long.
I'm excited to get my hands on that game.
Yeah.
I think they pushed it back, so I don't think it comes out till next year. I might be wrong.
Yeah, 20 yeah. It's I believe it's supposed to be 25, but it might be 26 cuz I think they're waiting to see when Rockstar's going to release GTA 6 to put a date. It said February though. They said Valentine's Day I think is come out.
Because they
But I don't
originally
know.
said November. Because I went back and watched Osprey's Assassin's Creed entrance, which might be one of my favorite entrances of all time in wrestling. It was so great.
I know it was amazing.
I went back and watched that, and they had the advertisement on the bottom screen November 15th, and I was like, that game did not come out November. I mean, November 15th. So
No. They pushed it to February. And as of this recording, we don't know if it will be pushed back any further. Y'all will know, we'll find out a couple weeks later, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. I I'm excited for it. There's a lot of controversy with it. I don't understand the controversy. I just think that you just got to play the game to see if you like it or not, or just wait for reviews if that's what you do. You already know what you're getting. It's an Assassin's Creed game. Ubisoft does not change the formula of these games. The only thing that changes is the setting and the story. Everything
mhm.
else is going to get you're getting the same thing you've gotten for the last 12 years. I don't see why people have an issue and problem with some certain things that's going to happen. I probably will buy the game. Like I said, I'm behind 4 Assassin's Creeds anyway, but I'll try to buy it and hopefully I get some time in the summer of 25 and that will be when I fully play it and experience it. And I hope it's really good too. I really
Because
do.
I like the last one I played because I'm biased to like the older ones, like Assassin's Creed
Oh, me
One.
too. Absolutely. Anything before Black Flag, that's I'm fanboy of. I even like Black Flag too, even though some people don't like Black Flag. I love Black Flag.
I love Black Flag, and I'll make even the argument that I liked Rogue because I feel like
Rogue was
this is
great.
this kind of is something I think Rogue and Black Flag could have been the same game and they just extended the game because I felt like when I played through Black Flag originally, I felt like Black Flag was a little short
It
and
was. It was
and
shorter than 3.
I felt like they could have done a very unique thing that GTA later did where you had multiple playable characters
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like it would have been cool that you play through Edward's story and then it switches to like where Rogue starts and then you're playing through. I forget the main character of Rogue, but then you later meet Edward's son, which I felt like would
Yeah.
have tied it all back to you playing as Edward, and then seeing the
Correct.
little boy at the end.
Right.
And I felt like that could have all been the same game, and then that is a perfect game to play before 3. Instead, you have to play Black Flag and Rogue to make 3 make sense,
Correct.
and
Yeah.
that's why
So
that's why
that's
people
why
don't like the
I
Assassin's Creed games. Is because you have to
mm,
play them in all these different orders to make the
right.
story make
Right.
sense.
Yeah, because I can't just say let's play 1, 2, 3, then 4. You can't do
Mm-mm.
that because you won't understand Rogue at that point.
Mm-mm.
Then you won't understand Forest ending neither. So because you got to play it in a certain order, and that's a testament to just proper improper planning by Ubisoft and poor writing. That's what that is. Like you have to play certain games before this game to understand what's happening in this game. And I need Ubisoft needs to realize that not everybody's going to play every game you release. There's not fanboys like us that will be like, yeah, I'm going to get this because it's Assassin's Creed. I love Assassin's Creed. There's people that are casual players that might skip an Assassin's Creed because a GTA comes out that year or because Call of Duty's good again and they want to buy Call of Duty over Assassin's Creed. I know people like that. My friends are like that. Some of my friends will be like, yeah, if there's a game that's releasing around Assassin's Creed that they want to get, they won't buy Assassin's Creed because the plot might not interest them. So they gotta think about the casual player too, and not assume everybody's hardcore fanboys of these games because that's not true. In retrospective, so yeah, I agree. I think that like 3 character thing would have made perfect sense for that time. At least for those 2 games. I feel like
Ooh,
Black
that would have been cool too, where you
yeah.
could have played it even as like Edward's son. That would have been
Hmm.
cool because I don't think besides like a couple like the beginning of 3, I don't think you really get to play as him that much.
You're right. It's
Yeah.
only the beginning of 3, and you don't see him again because they just after 3 we got new
He becomes the
stories every year.
because in 3 he becomes not to spoil anyway. The game's like 10 years old,
It's
so
10 years old, y'all. Yeah, come on.
uh,
But
I
go
believe
ahead.
at the end. I believe at the end of 3 he becomes the bad guy. I haven't played that game in so long, but
Yes,
he
yes,
gets revealed as the bad guy. But
yeah. He's the bad
you
guy.
and that's why I think it might be okay the story they went with, like playing 3 first, because if you play Rogue first, then you already know he's a bad guy when you're playing the beginning of 3. Because
Right.
yeah, so it's kind of like you
But
said,
yeah,
it's bad writing
bad writing.
because um, but I just personally for me when they switched up, like I get why they switched up like the design of the game, made it more of like an RPG type thing. I get why they did that. Just personally for me, it didn't feel Assassin's Creed like Odyssey doesn't feel like an Assassin's Creed game. Even
It
though it's
doesn't
one
for
of the
me.
better games, it doesn't like story wise, it doesn't feel like an Assassin's Creed game.
I agree. I don't.
Origins still did. I liked Origins.
Now, have you seen the report that they're going that some of their games, well, some of the future Assassin's Creeds that they have, because they have like a I think like 4 or 5 more planned or something like that. I don't know, but they're trying to give each part of the fan base something.
That's what
So
they tried to do with Mirage, is make a like an old school one. Yeah.
yes, so they're trying to like go. One of them's going to be RPG, and then the other one's going to be what we like from the first three games. You know what I'm saying? So,
Hmm.
I mean, in concept, it's a great idea, but then you're going to
You're
look at
basically
sales
like
numbers and be like,
splitting. Yeah, you're
you're
basically
splitting
splitting
yourselves
your. Yeah,
because
and
they don't have the staff like they used to have two teams work on two different games. Then you can release them one in the fall and one in the spring like they had planned. They've been laying off staff like crazy, and their stock is very bad right now. There's rumors that they might get bought this year. That's how bad their stock is. So that is not going to work anymore because you don't have the manpower to make two different games for two different audiences. That's very stupid to me. I disagree with that personally. I just think you should just go right down the middle. Have some RPG elements and keep the story like we liked it from the first three games. It's that simple.
because I feel like one of the things I think that might make we were talking about how like a lot of people didn't like the main storylines and Desmond and like the real life the present day. That's what I was looking for. That's the word I was looking for. Like the present day storylines.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of that's going to change if like we ever get to see his character again because of how beloved those first three games are.
Right.
Because I've heard a lot of like rumors and speculation and stuff that they might be able that Desmond's like trapped in the Animus and he's like part of his being still alive and stuff like that. There's like constant video game theories for how they could bring Desmond back, and I would love to see something like that.
I think that he should come back because he's beloved, and you want to like
You want to
make
make the fan base interested.
interested again and make them come back to these games. Bring back someone that everybody likes. That's how you do it, right? So I think that that would be a great idea to bring him back. But we will see like what will happen with Ubisoft. We'll see what happens with Assassin's Creed because there's a lot that's up in the air because of what's going on with them behind the scenes. So oh man, but hopefully Ubisoft survives another year or so because it'll be very disappointing to see one of the game companies that made my childhood just fall under and crash, in less than like 12, 13 years after they made one of the most beloved series in gaming that changed the gaming genre, like with how assassin type games are made. So
How stealth is done in games and stuff.
yeah.
Completely changed how stealth and parkour are done in games. Like
Exactly, man.
you see so much of Assassin's Creed in like an Uncharted or in like a because that's another one of my favorite gaming series, and you see so much of like an Assassin's Creed element towards that and stuff.
Yeah, even Splinter Cell, whenever they were making those games, borrowed from Assassin's Creed 2 and 3, used some of their stealth elements in their last Splinter Cell game that they made, from the Tom Clancy series. So, like you said, Uncharted 2, that is my favorite PlayStation series, that PlayStation Studios has made. Naughty Dog, that's still my favorite Naughty Dog series. I Last of Us, okay. I'm gonna go a little controversial here. I don't think that's not my favorite Naughty Dog series. Uncharted beats it
I
easily.
love me some Uncharted.
Well, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
if we ever talk about like the main COD that I use in UKW is Tyler Drake, and the original name aspiration behind that was I was playing the Uncharted games at the time, and the fact of having Drake as like a last name, even though it's predominantly used as like a first name, I thought that was kind of interesting. So that's what I went with. Like, so I thought he has like a those games have a good place in my heart and stuff.
Absolutely, man. They pretty much got me into single player narrative driven games outside of GTA. Those were the games that really got me in love with single player games. Was the Uncharted series really?
And they
Mhm.
saved me, dude, because um the Uncharted movie was actually good, and it broke
I
my
agree.
heart when they released the Assassin's Creed movie and people didn't like it. It broke my heart, dude, because when I heard it was coming out, I was like, "Are we gonna get a game where Ezio is the main character?" Because if that's
Mm-hmm.
what they would have went with, people would have lost their mind.
Facts.
Like,
Facts.
I'm not, because what you could have done is just portray the first three games in one movie. Like Ezio's three games in one movie. You would have had to cut out like all these missions that might not be like too main story ish, but you could have done an Ezio game in a 2 hour movie. I think.
You could have did, yeah, you could have did all three.
Yeah,
Literally, literally, because the first game could have been your beginning, second game is your middle, and your climax is the third game.
yeah. They all have like rising actions, like because like you don't get to beat the boss from the first game until I believe like the second game or something. Like it,
Correct.
yeah, like
And then that leads into the third game after you beat him in the second game. So
yeah.
you literally could have done it a whole movie like that. I don't know why they didn't do that, because what Sony did when they did the Uncharted movie is they borrowed elements from the third game,
Mhm.
the first game, and the
Mhm.
second game. And I believe they borrowed elements from the first game, the fourth game too, a little bit from the fourth game.
And what? Yeah, because they mentioned Sam a lot. They
Yes.
what I didn't like with the Assassin's Creed movie is what they were trying to do is set up their own like movie franchise and have that be like a separate thing, because they introduced a new character. They introduced like the Animus didn't even look like the Animus from the games. It didn't make sense. Like,
No, no, no. What they needed to do is do like how the Last of Us TV show is doing, right? They are literally adapting the video games.
mm-hmm,
That's what should have been done. We should have got that movie should have been the first three games, because now that will get newer audience, casual people, more kids, you know, into Assassin's Creed. If they be like, okay, oh my god, this movie was great, and then they realize, oh, this is a video game series. Now I have to go play these games.
or even like if you couldn't fit it all into a movie, I would have loved an Assassin's Creed TV show that just covered Desmond's story. Like
Absolutely.
like you do
Absolutely.
Altair, you do have a big portion of NCO. It'd be like Doctor Who, how like you have these three different characters that die off over time,
Yeah.
because like you get you become a fan of Altair in like the first season, he dies, and like you still have Desmond who's connected to him, but and then you go to NCO, you probably have to give him more than one season because he has more than one game. So, and then you go in your final game, which is with Connor. So, but yeah, I love me some Assassin's Creed, man. I can talk about this all day.
But me too. I can talk about Assassin's Creed all day. I could talk about gaming all day, really, because I love the
Yeah.
game. Period. Um, I fully agree. I think that they could have just told Desmond's story in one season on like a streaming service, and then season two could have we could have started with like the Black Flag and
Mm-hmm.
Rogue game. Season three could have been like the more recent games. Because Assassin's Creed has so much lore, like they can fit 3, 4, 5 seasons and just from the games alone. There's so many games,
And
even with the
there's so
like
many missions in games that are like filler that you could take out to make it the story smaller that would fit in a season or something.
exactly, because everybody always talks about the Ubisoft bloat, because it is true. Ubisoft has some of the most bloat in their games out of any series, out of any video game, period. In my opinion, they blow their games up so much. There's so much thriller in these video games. So absolutely, you could like literally take all that out and make it one season. Or if it really had to be a movie, like you said, take out some of the thriller in the first three games, um, like missions, and then you just tell that linear based story, because like you said, the first game you didn't kill the boss. That led into the sequel. Then you killed the boss, and then that led into the third game where we got our big reveal at the end that he was, evil and stuff like that. So, that could have absolutely worked, man. But we're gonna touch base on Assassin's Creed later. We gotta talk about your YouTube career. So,
Yeah.
um, look, first off, most of my audience probably doesn't know who you are, so we're gonna pretend that nobody that's watching this does not know what you do on YouTube. So my first couple questions is, what got you into YouTube? What do you do on there? And like, how did you start making like WWE games content?
Okay, so I give a lot of like my um I give a lot of like my goal to watching YouTube of just like coming home and being interested in watching people like do playthroughs and stuff. Because it started with
Mm-hmm.
like the generic stuff when I was younger, like Minecraft and all just video games in general. But over time, I'm like I said, I grew as a wrestling fan, and I believe the first universe mode that I really got into was probably 101s in like 2012, 2013.
Oh wow,
If
you old school Universe Mode fan.
Yeah, I don't know if and then what really connected me after that because I think he stopped his universe no not too long after that. I think everybody will hear 101 and talk about like the videos that are made for WWE about the games because he's the one that does that, or at least he used to be the one that done that. I don't know if he does that anymore, but
I
um,
don't believe he does the universe modes stuff anymore. I think he just does some 2K stuff, like fun
yeah,
facts or whatever now.
yeah, and like shortly after he stopped his universe mode, I don't know how it was in my recommended for Gordon Perkins, who still do universe mode to this day and have been doing it for years and are probably up there with like the longest running universe mode people. They've been doing their stuff for a long time. And just that's what I probably say got me into universe mode. But for the Pacific content that I do, I have to say that, um, and I don't know if you'll know who these are, but FAM Forever Movement are probably
Hmm.
the biggest inspirations for me personally. They got me into like the idea of using like custom characters in universe mode and stuff, and then seeing what Chris was able to do with his character on his own like independent channel, seeing what Brandon was able to do with his own character and his independent channel, Nitro and Aaron and all of them, seeing what they were able to do. I felt like you could do it on a large scale, and that's what we're trying to build for. It's me, Valente, who is my best friend, and Dakota, who's another one of my best friends, and it's us. We do trio commentary for our own like we call it our Twitter bio is a WWE 2K CAW experience.
Oh, y'all do trio commentary?
Yes.
What? Okay, okay. So how do y'all make trio commentary work?
Um, chemistry because we've been friends for 12 years. It just flows.
So what do y'all do it on? Like, what software do y'all use to do your trio
Um,
commentary?
it's probably kind of very bootleg, but what we'll do is I'll have the video queued up in media player,
Okay.
and then we'll boot up a Discord share screen. We'll watch it, and I'll hit record on OBS normally. Then
Okay.
I'll
Yeah, I remember my first time ever trying trio commentary. We tried that method and it was interesting. Um, very 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 hard to do. So I mean, I'm glad that y'all got a method of doing it. I think trio commentary is very unique for universe mode because not everybody does it. Now I've done dual commentary before. When I, there's a lot of current videos on the channel with me with J and W. I did do a commentary with him on his channel. He did it a couple times with me on this channel. Expert Gaming, that's my partner right now for dual commentary for our stuff. So yeah, I I love having someone there, with me what calling these shows. So having two people there makes it even more fun because now you can mimic like actual real professional wrestling. Like you have the color guy. You really have him right there. You got him, and you said the chemistry is there, which is absolutely awesome. So, so my next question is: so that's how you got started. So, what got y'all to just doing like call based stuff? Like, is it because y'all just wanted to just be creative, or is it like, okay, this is like something that we've always been passionate about. We want to make our own own call show. Like what? Like
it came to a point in probably around 2017, 2018, watching WWE, that I was just so unhappy with the professional wrestling product that was just being put on TV every week, that I genuinely said to myself one day, and the video isn't the videos aren't up anymore, but UKW wasn't my first like COD universe mode that I tried. On a different channel, I tried a LAW universe mode, but this is where that idea came from. Is like I genuinely said to myself, I think I could make a better wrestling product, story wise, not production wise, because WWE's got I don't want to say any like bad words on here, but they've got like millions of dollars to throw in production budgets and stuff. Like story wise, I felt like I could make a better product. And I'm not sitting out here saying UKW is better than WWE or anything. I don't want that. But I felt like we do. I feel like we do very unique stories and stuff like that. And I feel like there are things that we are able to tell that maybe WWE can't do because of sponsors and all that stuff.
yeah,
There's certain things that they're not allowed to do that I feel like because it's a video game once again, you have these creative liberties while you're also hand tied at the same time because the game limits you so much on what you can do. But
correct.
they also give you that open window to do certain stuff. And UKW didn't originally start off as like fully CAW. Like we had a couple of calls in, but it had like other like mainstream wrestlers in because I didn't have enough like calls to fill out an entire roster originally. But now we have full creator wrestlers in like everything.
How many calls do you guys have as of this moment?
In the we've gotten some off of community creations. We've gotten some off of people in the Discord. We've got about 55 people in the Discord. I'd probably say we have two brands, probably like at least 50, maybe upper 50s.
Hey, that's not bad at all for two shows. Um, so you say you mentioned that you guys have a Discord. So y'all created Discord for y'all to interact with y'all fans and stuff like that.
I didn't originally do that. That's where I come out, but maybe I'm not the smartest like YouTube creator. Is like originally when I was doing UKW for a year, we didn't have a Discord. We didn't have all this stuff. It wasn't until I brought in a guy that does commentary with me, Dakota. When I
Mm-hmm.
brought Dakota on, he's well versed with all like the Discord. He knows how to set one up and all that stuff. I didn't know how to do that. If I would have
Oh.
created a Discord, it would have just been general chat, and that's all you get. But you
Yeah,
get general.
so he was the one that like made it like designed it up and made it like more input in there for the Discord. Okay, that makes sense. I didn't make my Discord until I started in doing this 2017. I started doing like actual like universe mode stuff. I didn't make my Discord till 2020. So I get it. I didn't really like understand the Discord aspect of it until like I used to have like a core amount of my fans who used to. I don't know if you were around when YouTube had the group chats. So, YouTube used to have group chats on like the actual app where you can like invite your subscribers to the group chats and like you can talk to your subscribers through the chats. So that's what we had used at first to interact with some of our guys that we had calls for the series and like fans that wanted to ask me questions about the show, get their live reactions to the show and everything. So when that went away, I didn't have an avenue to talk to my fans. So someone brought up that Discord's a thing. And I didn't really know too much about Discord until 2020. And I was like, okay, well, we'll make a Discord server. So that's how my Discord server got created. So it was shout outs to that fan that made sure my Discord server got created. I probably would have been a Discord server, or probably would have had it, probably would have made the Discord server a year later because my school, my university, I'm a tech major, so they use Discord to communicate with students. So I probably would have eventually made a Discord account a year and a half later, but I really didn't make my Discord until like my server until 2020. Like I didn't. It was either 19 or 20. One of those years was when I first joined Discord. I think Discord has on your has it on my thing when I first actually joined the app. You know.
And it's kind of an interesting thing that because I found out like about your content from J&W. Me and him have become kind of cool. He's on the
Hmm.
UKW. I don't know if you know this, but he's on the UKW creative team. Like he talks about us. He talks to us about like creative stuff that we're doing for the show and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. He told me about you guys because I believe y'all were collaborating with something. I think it was y'all.
Yeah,
Um
I was on commentary for one of the shows he did not too long
yeah,
ago.
yeah. Y'all been collaborating a lot, and he told me that he joined y'all creative team and really like shouted y'all out. And I've heard nothing but great things from about y'all. So I was really excited when you said you wanted to come on here for the pod. Um and yeah, so like yeah, I met J&W in 2019. That's when I met J&W. Like I found his content because he was doing call stuff, AOA and AOR at the time, and then I found him through another YouTuber I like, J Dog, and that's how me and
Mm.
him had connected all those years ago, and we've been friends ever since. Being very cool. I do TNA with him. I don't know by the time this comes out if the recent TNA will be out yet. Um, but I do commentary with TNA on him, and I help him out with some TNA creative stuff too. So yeah, he's a great guy, and I'm very y'all have a great mind on y'all creative team, and I feel like one of the best call creators on this app. I'm putting it out there. Like I think that he has top tier content on this app. Some of the best things I've ever seen is from him. Like y'all have someone special on your team.
I
Shout out to
like
JW, by the way.
big shout out because like um he kind of because when we first started when we dropped our first Pinnacle event, which is kind of our like version of WrestleMania, that video brought so many new eyes to the UKW channel, and you can even see it in the analytics. Like everything for a while has just been all green arrows. Like that's not me saying that like braggadociously. It's just like we've been doing really good lately.
Yeah, that's
Um,
great. That's a great thing. That means call content's alive for one. That also means that the game, the game is still popular.
even the,
That's
even though the new game's coming out soon, that makes me think in my head that people actually enjoyed the game.
yes. People actually enjoy the game, and with how late it is, people are enjoying what you're putting out. Keep in mind, we're in the early of 25 now, so we got like 2 months until 20, like the actual 22K25 drops, and you have green arrows. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing that people are sticking around and watching your stuff this late in the season. Because as creators, people hop on that new game, that new plastic
It
very,
starts
very
go
fast.
like when we season 4 premiered the same time 2K came out because
Hmm.
and still to this day some of the highest most popular videos we've ever made are like the first 3 or 4 episodes of season 4 because I put so much work into those videos. The new game came out. It was just like a combining of a bunch of stuff.
Timing
And
timing is of the essence with these games now, and with the algorithm. A lot of people will I call WrestleMania season like peak season for WWE 2K creators. Here's why. It's peak season because that is the most eyes that professional wrestling has of the calendar year. From January to April is the most eyes that will be on any product from AEW, WWE, TNA, New Japan, etc. because of WrestleMania. WrestleMania is so popular that it influences even the games, influences even us. When WWE is doing great, our videos are going to do even
do
better
great. Yeah.
because more eyes will be on professional wrestling as a whole and people will be feasting for content.
Because
That's the goal.
I've started to see it lately in like um when WWE was doing bad, Like you started to see a lot of like universe mode creators call it quits, like hang it up, like they're not doing universe mode content anymore. You
Mm-hmm.
started like one of my favorite universe mode creators and has kind of like his videos that kind of iterate like really innovated my like editing style because he has a bunch of videos like describing how he edits stuff is Murph. I don't know if you know who Murph is.
Oh, everybody knows who Murphs is.
Uh,
Everybody knows him. He is my inspiration. That's what I'll say. He is the reason why I still do this. I found Mercer's channel back in 2017. That was one of my real reasons for getting behind this microphone and doing this stuff and like actually taking it very, very serious. Like I remember I was one of the first. This is how OG I am for Merce. You see how many subscribers he has now? I was one of his first 200 subscribers when he was fresh out the cup, fresh. I remember the first video I watched. I can tell you exactly what video it was. It was with Roman Reigns holding the big gold World Heavyweight Championship. It was SmackDown episode 2. That was the first ever Merch YT13 video I ever watched. Roman Reigns had the big gold belt in his hands. And I was intrigued. I clicked on it immediately, and I have been watching him ever since. That was what was 2017 was like now what 7, almost 7, like what, like 6, 7 years ago now, almost a decade old now.
like Murph and Delzinski
He's
and
another one, man.
a guy that I idolized, but he's I think he's since like quit universe mode as a whole is Math Wiz.
Yeah, him too. I adored him too. I think like Dave now was one of the my inspirations to do this stuff too. I remember I got a lot of my series that I do now, like behind the universe. A lot of the behind the scenes stuff I do now is
That's what I
influenced
was.
from his videos, like recapping some of my favorite moments, top 10 moments. I got all that from him. All those ideas that he made, I got those ideas from his content. He's
eh,
another one of my big inspirations.
That's like those three guys didn't only make universe mode content. They were so intrigued on getting the genre of because this is what we me and my friends have always talked about is like there's wrestling as a genre on YouTube. Then
Mm-hmm.
there's wrestling games, and then there's wrestling universe mode, and then I would say even UKW goes down another genre, another niche is that like call universe mode. So I feel like there's so many niches for the market that even me and you are in that I feel
Mm-hmm.
like they wanted to grow that, so they started releasing the behind the universe or the master universe for Delzinski, or and I forgot what Murph's called his, but um
It was something with Kurt in it. I don't really remember what the
yeah,
exact name of it was, but I remember watching those videos though, and it was great. You
it
know,
was so helpful.
it was helpful because they were trying to like grow the community even more. Because like I said, the more people we have doing this, the more popular we're going to be.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. Like, um, I see someone like I was so proud of them. They hit like 7, 8,000 subscribers this year from universe just from doing universe mode content. That's great because that gives us smaller creators the hope that we can reach those heights if we just keep grinding. And I tell people all the time, doing this is like the tortoise and the hare story. We are in a niche in this community, in the WWE games community. How we are niche. 2K showcases, my career, my faction, all those modes, how I will book blah 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 blah, or the
Mm-hmm.
biggest type of content in the WWE games community right now. You can go look up those videos. They get hundreds of thousands of views every single day, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are a niche now. So seeing people get invested in the niche is going to make everybody else around us even greater because It's not going to be short-term gains. And this is what I tell people that want to do YouTube in general. You know, you might have that video that blows everything up and changes your life, but it might take you 5 years to get that video. It might
Yeah.
take you 6 months, might take you 2 weeks. You just never know how the algorithms going to work. And I study algorithms because I'm a computer science major. And let me tell you, algorithms are very, very weird. AI is very, very finicky. It does whatever it wants to. It's random. It's just numbers, right?
Hmm.
So you don't know what that program that YouTube's running is going to do that day to push your video out.
And
So,
that's the thing. I feel like we got very lucky with UKW. The first video we ever had was called the UKW Championship Tournament. And
mhm,
still to this day, on our most popular videos, it is the most popular video we've ever put out.
right,
There was no videos on the UKW channel. We dropped I think it was like an hour and 30-minute video. Within like a week, it had over 1,000. And we haven't even, and like, I've talked to so many creators for Universe Mode content, and they're like, that's like unheard of for a channel with no videos on it.
correct,
For their like first video to like get crazy like that.
correct. That
And
that that happened with one of my close friends that does this too. Expert Gaming. He restarted everything, and his highlight video got 10,000 views. That's unheard of. That is like very, very impressive, and y'all should pat yourselves on the back because that shows quality. They don't have anything to reference. Keep that in mind. It's blank. There's nothing to reference. There's no prior stories. There's no explanations. You posted one video and I got 1,000 views. That shows that y'all have quality content, and y'all three are gonna go places. Y'all are.
uh,
Y'all are gonna be. If y'all keep this up in 25, 26, y'all are gonna be the next big pillars in this cost space because especially if y'all just keep up the quality, keep up the standard that y'all got for yourselves, and keep the writing good, keep that production good, man. I might, when I bring you back on this podcast, you might be sitting at 5, 6, 7,000 subscribers
because
because you got to keep that quality up though.
this is my thought process on it. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to like say, but people on YouTube, like some people check out, some people leave, some people come and start new channels and stuff. Like you never know, like the rise and fall of the pillars and stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
because say for example, you have a person that's a main creator in the cost space, and then they just decide they don't want to do it anymore. Those fans that are subscribed to that channel have to find something that is similar to that they have to watch. They want to find something similar to that. So if you want to find something similar to that, I feel like there's places to grow for people that are consistent, people that are willing to put the work in. And like um but as far as like it's as far as like creative ideas and stuff,
Yeah.
and like inspirations call wise, um SWW, who is probably I'd say the biggest call creator right now, like for
Mm-hmm.
call universe modes. They're probably the biggest call universe mode I'd say right now. They have like over 6K, and they post some really good stuff. And are complete and utter inspirations to what we do right now. And like you said, a rising tide lifts all ships.
Right.
Them doing good makes us do good. WWE putting out a good product every week. We have ties in that. Me, you, everybody that does the call universe modes, and everybody that has just normal universe modes has ties in that. Because
Yep.
if WWE's doing good, we're doing good. If AEW is
Correct.
doing good, we're doing good. Like,
Definitely doing good. With them doing good. Like if every wrestling company is on fire, then overall everybody's going to benefit from that. That's why I say that I want every company to do great
Yeah,
because if every company do great, you're gonna be paying my bills one day. Just that simple. That's how I see this going. I feel like I can grow this so much where this thing can pay one of my bills. Can
that's that's
just one.
that's what I've asked a lot of like. That's what a lot of people have like talked to me about with universe mode and stuff being such a niche. Are you okay with maybe just having it as like a supplemental thing? Because let's be honest, like universe mode content, unless you get like a place like Gordon Perkins where you are like upwards 300, 400K, like it's all going to be supplemental.
Yeah, correct.
Uh, like it's not going to be a thing where that's your main full career now.
Mm-hmm. It
Like,
well, I'm going to answer this for myself. Um, when I first started YouTube, I never had that thought that YouTube is going to be my job. This is going to be what I do for a living. No, never had that in my mind. I always knew that I was going to be working somewhere in either the medical field or the tech field. That was my passions at that time, and the tech field is still my passion. When I envisioned YouTube, I said I'm going to do this because I love it. This is something
mm-hmm.
I do. It's a hobby. This is a hobby to me. People ask me what's my hobbies. I game, I do YouTube, I love to travel, and I love to spend time with my friends. That that's what I do.
Because like
And I read a book from time to time. That's it.
you think about like people pour thousands of dollars a year into their hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get like quality, like besides for like the major minor upgrades from time to time, like once you get the equipment you need, you really don't have to pour. Like it's one of the more inexpensive hobbies because you don't have to pour constant upgrades into it. Like if you get a quality mic, you can use that for a year or two.
Let me tell you something. This thing has been going strong for 5 years now.
That's
I
what I'm.
I I have not upgraded these. Well, tell their age. I got these in 2017, man. Still
And
going
like
strong.
that's what I'm saying. Like some people like woodworking, lumber's expensive, and that's some of people's favorite hobbies is like doing wood carving and stuff. And like if that's your hobby, it's kind of more of a that's an expensive hobby YouTube isn't really if you
Oh,
and there's like a lot of people don't get it, but I feel like nowadays versus like say 2017, 2018, where you started, I started my first video I probably ever uploaded was on my Titans channel, which is currently like haven't been uploaded on in a while. Was probably around like 2017. So like when we started YouTube back then, a lot of people didn't know like what it was, but we're in a totally different world than 7, 8 years ago.
absolutely. We are. God, I can't even explain how different it is just from 2016 now to 2025. Like it is insanely different. Like the world, how things operate, what people do now is so different than what it was not even like 8, 9 years ago, bro.
And I think you see the growth of like people tech wise that maybe weren't going to be too like tech savvy. You see a growth of them tech wise because of like the pandemic, having to stay inside and having to learn to use these different tech things. And you
Pe-
got to think,
People
yeah,
like people made cooking shows because they were like like the pandemic changed so much. You have people that are making thousands of dollars from Instagram. They realize they can make money from Instagram. They can make money from Twitter. They can make money from TikTok. Now people are having what you talked about, supplemental income. These people are still working jobs, but they know I'm going to get $2,000, $3,000. Some people are getting $2,000, $3,000 from these things from Instagram this month. I'm going to get this from TikTok. TikTok blew up during the pandemic. A lot of people are massive TikTok creators, and TikTok is paying some of their bills right now. You know,
that's the point. That's the point I'm getting at is that like um if I could ever get UKW to a point where it's just supplemental, I'm happy with that.
Me too. That was gonna be my point. I know my passion is technology. I love technology. If you want to talk about a hobby that I'm gonna spend a lot of money in, it's obviously the tech world because that's what I love. I love programming. I love working with technology stuff, sysadmin, database stuff, all that nerdy stuff like that people call nerdy stuff. That's what I like. Okay, so that's gonna be my job. I'm going to work in the tech field. I know that I want to be successful in that too. So that's where my most of my money is coming from. If YouTube is an extra money, I'm either gonna put that towards vacations,
Hmm.
or my future lady. I'm gonna put that towards her, or I'm gonna put that towards saving it for emergencies or paying, like you said, paying an extra bill. It's supplemental, and I don't really.
And when you
I
can
make
turn
money. Go
when
ahead.
you can when you can turn your hobby into supplemental, it really brightens your horizons of what you can do financially.
Absolutely. Because think about this. If I can turn my two hobbies, which is gaming and YouTube, into supplemental incomes, I'm set, man. I am set. Like that's extra money that's gonna be in my pocket, and I'm love keyword. I'm loving what I'm doing in each thing because
That's what I'm
I
saying.
know I'm gonna love going to work every day because that's what I want to do. Then I'm gonna love doing this every day because I'm being paid for it too. I love to do it. So like doing stuff that you love to do and having your hobbies make money for you too, it makes you have a happier life too.
Like everybody's always talked about like how like I've got the question a couple of times, how long can you see yourself doing YouTube? And I like it's kind of a question that gets on my nerves a bit because like how long do you see yourself reading that book you just read? How long do you see yourself? Because if I can dedicate an hour or two to it every day or every other day, I can put out a video a week, which is currently what UKW is doing right now. We've been talking about like kind of upping it and maybe trying to do more stuff weekly,
Mm-hmm.
but right now we're at a video a week is what we try to aim for. And
Right.
if I put 1 to 2 hours into something, I can drop a video a week. We can put 1 to 2 hours something a day. I can drop a video a week. People spend way more time than that on their hobbies sometimes.
Some people spend 7, 8 hours of the day. They on their off days. A lot of people just spend on their hobbies.
That's what I'm saying.
They don't do
On
they
the
don't do anything else.
and like for me, the job I'm going into, I'd have Sundays and Saturdays and Sundays off because I'm wanting to be a teacher. And
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh wait. Are you in school right now?
yes,
Oh, me too. I'm still in school. I'm in my senior year. I got one more semester left, and I'll be done.
I've got. I went to the community college route, so I got a little bit longer. I got probably like 2, 3 semesters left.
Oh yeah, that's fine. You're almost done, though. And that actually that's very smart too. I bet you saved a lot of money going that route too, because now you got 2 years for a bachelor instead of 4 years for a bachelor's.
Yeah,
That's actually really
and
really smart.
yeah, and all of that's having to be like I get like grants and for like financial aid and
Oh yeah, yeah.
the rest is student loans. So, but I go to kind of a big university. I go to Auburn University, so I feel like it'll kind of level itself out for some of the people that go to smaller universities.
Mm-hmm.
So, like
Oh,
if some people went to a smaller university for 4 years, it'll probably level out to be the same thing that I went to Auburn for 2 years. So,
yeah, basically, yeah. Auburn. Oh man, go roll tide. But that's the only difference that we have a little bit. But since you say you went to Auburn, I had to do it. But yeah, that's great, man. So what do you want to teach?
history education, social science.
Social science. Yes, yes. I love history. I think history was my favorite subject in grade school. It was my favorite subject in college. I just loved knowing about what happened, knowing the details, knowing the facts. That's just a great field to go into. Honestly, if I would have ever taught school, that would have been the subject I would have taught as history. But
Um,
if anything, but yeah, that's a great path, man. I wish you the best in that. But go ahead.
um, and like I have goals and aspirations outside of that too. Like It is a social science degree, and like politics has always been something that kind of interested me a bit. Like
Mm-hmm.
actually, um, because like just the political world that we're in, I feel like it'd be good to get some people that are actually on the people's side a little bit in offices and stuff. And so
Yeah,
like politics has always kind of interested me a little bit.
yeah, absolutely. And you can easily get a career in politics from a history degree, honestly. Because that a lot of people go that political science route. Whenever they want to be lawyers. For because they pick that. They be a poli sci major, and then they take their lawyer test, and then they go to law school afterwards. So you can easily use that history degree to easily or social science degree, or what they call it there at Auburn, to easily go right to politics if you
Well,
feel to
well,
be
see,
brave.
that's my idea. Is like think about it like this: if you teach somewhere 10, 15, 20 years, the people you teach, they eventually have kids, and then you'll teach them too. And you're because not everybody moves away from the original city they went to high school from. Like I'd say,
Absolutely not. No, not everybody does that. I know a few people that my teachers have taught their a couple of my teachers taught my mother. A couple of my teachers taught my father. Those teachers be there for 25, 30 years. So, on
become like
average they
ingrained in the
yeah,
community,
yes.
become big figureheads in the community. And then you
Yes.
say, for example, you see a teacher you used to have running for office. You're like, I liked him. He was nice to me in school.
You'll vote for them.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll have
I think it's genuinely a good idea.
And we
And a
need
lot
more. We need more of our generation in office anyway. Yeah, I'm tired of seeing these boomers. And no offense to the boomers, y'all have lived a great lives, and we appreciate everything you did for us. For us as a country, I appreciate every boomer. No offense to y'all, but it's time to go home, man. Like like live out your golden years, or that's they call it, right? Go home, take vacations, go see the world, man. Like, why are you still in office at 75? Like,
like
I mean, like, come on, man. I understand it's your passion, but let the newer, younger generation take over because we have fresher ideas. We are going through like the mud. Like y'all, most of y'all are set. Y'all are done. Y'all have y'all money. Y'all can
could
live
retire if you
comfortably.
wanted to.
You can retire if you want to. You can live comfortably. You're not going through the struggles of a 20, 24, 25, 30-year old right now. You're not going through our struggles. You already did that like 30, like 40 years ago. So like
And say
that's my
that's
little
the
rant on
that's the problem
that.
too. Is like when people already get in office, we're not going to know the struggles of our kids.
Nope.
That's the problem with. And I don't want to get too political on here, but that's the
Yeah,
problem
me
with.
neither, but I
That's
understand.
the
Go ahead.
that's the problem with like our government system is like it's always a generation behind because of like the age limits they put on it, and that's why I
Yeah,
love like government seats and mayor seats because those age limits aren't there. Like
exactly.
a 20 something year old ran for mayor in a town near me and won a couple of years ago. So like
That's that's amazing. That's what I want to see overall in these states. I want to see 32-year-old wins. I don't know, Alabama governor. 35-year-old wins president. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see 75-year-old, I'm just throwing names out. Amber Clark wins Louisiana governor. No. Like, why? What are you doing? Go home. I want to see younger people in there. I kind of wish we did not have the age limits for some things. I understand wanting to be like, you don't want them too young, like having a 19-year-old in Congress. Even though I think that would be a great idea, in my opinion. But people say, they're not developed, brains are not developed yet. They should be at least 35, 30 years old. But when the 30, 35-year-old run, why nobody voting for them? Like,
exactly.
why not any of us voting for them? If I see someone younger on there and they got decent policies, I'm a policy voter, by the way. And they got decent policies and they run morally with how I run, yeah, I'm voting for them. Over that
See that
60, over that 65-year-old, yeah, hell yeah, I'm voting. That's just me though.
that's my problem though, is I feel like so many people of our generation are like the only time they vote is every 4 years, and they don't
Ooh,
get out.
you is talking today. You is talking today, man. That right there, that is my major problem with voters in general. Why y'all don't show up for the midterms? Why we not showing up for the governor? Why we not showing up for Senate seats in our state? Congress
Stuff
seats
that would
for our
more
state.
affect you. Like, cause let's be
Exactly.
100% truthful. Let's be 100% truthful.
Mm-hmm.
How, besides like prices of stuff, there's few things that were different. At least for me, maybe I'm talking from a place of privilege, but there's few things that were different for me from 2016 to 2020 to 2024. Like just life
Oh.
wise.
I'm gonna throw it out there. I agree. I agree. The only thing that really changed was the price of gas and the price of food.
Like
Everything else was fine.
that's what I'm saying. Like, and each side politically try to scare you that, oh, we're gonna get blown to smithereens, and nothing ever happens.
They said
Uh,
that they said that in 2020. Oh, World War III is going to happen. God, you remember early 2020? People were threatening that they thought World War III was going to happen. I said, y'all be logical. If World War III happens, nobody will exist. It's that simple. They're going once the nukes come into play, the world is over. Everybody's dead. You're done. No one's doing that. I promise y'all. It's not going to
and
happen.
and nobody wants to like evaporate themselves. Like,
Thank you. At least these warriors have sense. They know that we can't,
if we shoot something, somebody else is gonna shoot something, and then they're gonna, yeah, exactly.
and
Like,
that's it. There will be no war. It'll be over in 2 days. Not even
like,
that. Maybe a few hours. It'll be over.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, logically, like, unless you're like a leader with like a terminally ill disease or something, you got a death wish and just want to like like people got to think logically with the stuff they see on Twitter and the stuff they see on
Yeah,
or
but
X or
whatever it's
it's
called.
called.
But you see, the problem with our generation is we don't read no more. We just get our information from these social media platforms and always assume that's true. We don't do research no more. We don't look into things ourselves. We don't form our own opinions on things. That's the problem with this generation too. That's why people have problems dating. That's why people have problems uh getting together with people and having friends. It goes along to social problems with social media. That's why a lot of people have issues with stuff.
And like,
That's just the real thing.
and the escape that people use tends to sometimes like be counterintuitive
Mm-hmm.
because they surround themselves with people that they agree with, and then you just get like these groups of people that push these points that maybe not might not be true. Like, maybe you see somebody saying something that's false on Twitter, but then this group of people over here want to believe it, so that they start spreading it to people that they hang out with, and then sooner or later, everybody thinks the same thing.
I like I like being with people and having access to people that have different experience and different opinions because that's how you learn. I don't want a group of people that think the same. No, I don't, you should never want that. Like I know in your friend group, right? I definitely know based on the conversation that we've had, y'all have had disagreements and debates on certain things. I just know it because I know that your friend group probably don't all think the same. That's
Mm-mm.
great because you need to have that to have different experiences because not everybody's gonna know everything. So having someone that knows something in this area is great because you grow in that area that you don't know. And that's the problem with people. They don't like people with different opinions. Not everybody's life is the same. Not everybody's raised the same. Once people understand that mindset, a lot of things that they see, you will not be bothered by.
Because, like, let me be 100% honest. I can say, just knowing, like, you say you grew up in Louisiana, I say I grew up in Alabama. Like, geographically, they're not different, but I've been to Louisiana and know that the states are, even though on the map they look very close, it can be very different depending on where you are.
Absolutely.
Like, and I know I have a friend in Wyoming. I know the way I grew up and the way I'm raised and the way I live my life is very different from the way he lives his life. It,
Tremendously different.
have it like that's one thing about the United States that I think is so interesting is because you can have people in Wyoming that live completely different lifestyles but are under the same country banner.
And
Like,
and that's why I love the United States. That's the part about the United States I love, because you know I might live this lifestyle, but I can, if I go travel and vacation to New York, the way they open doors, the way they talk, the way how they approach you is completely different
if I
from
or
how
you went to New York, the looks we would get for the way that we communicate and talk, dude, like I'm just
it's insane.
if
It's
I went to New
insane.
York, they would know immediately that like the area I'm from.
I'm from exactly based on the way I'm gonna like say good morning, how are you, sir? They
Hold
don't
the
they don't
door.
hold
They'll
the
know I'm
door
not
open. They'll do that.
because no, like that's one of the things like people from different states that come down to Auburn that go to school down here talk about so much is they don't understand like the door holding culture in like Southern hospitality and stuff like that. It's just a thing that it's not even say it's. I wouldn't even say it's a thing I was ever taught to do. It was a thing that just was just in my mind to do. I don't know. It's weird.
Exactly. How I put it is, I just seen my family do it. So I just did it myself. It's
Yeah.
just that simple. Everybody around me here did that. Like you will have. That's why I say when you come to the South, and I tell my Northern friends this: when you come to South, you're going to see that Southern hospitality, and you're going to see like a completely different type of culture. Like we are more family. I'm gonna say it's family based. We are more community based in the South than it is in the North. I'm not saying the North don't have those aspects. Of course they do, because the North is very populated. They have a lot of millions of people. So obviously kids are being raised. They have families down there, but their family units in the North is very different from the South. And even look at the West Coast. It's a completely different life over there, too.
Like somebody that lives in New York, is life is completely different from somebody that lives in Los Angeles, and somebody that lives in Los Angeles life is completely different from somebody that lives in like Auburn, Alabama.
Correct.
Don't even understand like the similarities in their lives. No, there's like it's hard to see those like things, but then you go once again tie back to it, you go to a city like Juneau in Alaska, and they're living a vastly different lifestyle than everybody else on the continent. Like it's interesting.
And that's the part of life that really really interests me as a kid. That's why again I love research. I love doing research. I love reading things. I love listening to documentaries and podcasts. That's the stuff I do in my spare time while I work on videos.
Mm-hmm.
Is I like reading and doing all that stuff, because I think that's fascinating how someone from literally like California has a completely different life and has a completely different experience from someone in Louisiana. Like that's fascinating as a country. Like, and we have the same principles as a country, but each individual state is completely different from one another. And that's amazing to me. And that's why I feel like the United States is one of the greatest countries in the world. You don't get that everywhere. Like you really don't. Like
No,
go outside the U.S. Uh, I've been to Mexico, and let me tell you, it's completely. When I tell you, it is completely different from the U.S. in so many ways. So many ways. It's night and day.
And
Night and day, bro.
like all of, but like kind of seeing the difference between that is kind of, like you said, kind of interesting. Like somebody, I can, as an American, never understand the life of somebody that lives in, um, let's just say like Jordan or some like Middle Eastern country.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's hard for me to I idea what their life probably looks like.
Right.
But that's why you kind of like, you can never come from a place of like immediate like judgment or anything,
No.
because I wouldn't like somebody just because I'm from Alabama or from the South to automatically assume that I don't like people of color or stuff like that. I wouldn't want people to automatically assume that about me, and that's why I
Mm-hmm.
hate like stereotypes and stuff.
Me too. I can't stand stereotypes because a lot of people assume that, oh, you look at, white folks differently than everybody else because of my skin color. That's not that's far from the truth at all. I have a lot of cool, great white friends, great white coworkers. They've they haven't treated me any different than anybody else I met. I think that stereotype's ridiculous. I treat people like how they want to be treated themselves. If you come with me with respect, you give me the same respect that you give everybody else, and you're well mannered with me, and we can have a great conversation, then we'll get along perfectly fine. I don't care. You can be blue. I don't really care what color
Yeah,
you are. Like obviously if like you come at me a certain way, then you're going to get that energy towards you. That's how I was raised. How we were taught is you treat people how you want to be treated. If they treat you
100%.
differently, if they treat you differently than that, then you have every right to change the way you treat them. Just that simple. That's how the morals, that's how I grew up and was raised down here. So
100,
yeah, I
150%.
I completely agree with you on that stereotype crap. I don't like it. I really can't stand it, me personally. But I know I never stereotype anybody, because everybody's different, like you said. Everybody's raised different. Everybody has different backgrounds. You might, like, for example, like we're in Alabama. They love to stereotype that state a lot. But I've met some great people from Mississippi and Alabama, like that are genuinely down to earth people. I met them through social media, and I'm like, the stereotypes that they put on y'all, it's like this doesn't even make any sense. Like y'all don't even act like this. They'll be
Yeah,
like, oh, they wouldn't talk to you. They'll assume that you're a bad guy. I'm like, no, dude, he just had a 30-minute conversation with me. What are you talking about? You know?
yeah. It's Now, I'm not saying that there aren't people that fit those stereotypes that sometimes are given out,
Oh
because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're like living in Alabama as a person of as a it was never something I worried about, but like being in a classroom, hearing like classmates talk about it, like the issues they have living. Like there's certain towns you just can't go to. Like
That's let me tell you something. That's in every part of the United States. Everybody think that's just specific to the South. That's a lie. There's certain towns in the North I wouldn't dare step foot in. There's certain towns in the West Coast I would not dare step in either. I would drive. I will pull up so fast and never touch. There are certain towns even in this state I'm in right now. You'll never catch me in. Nope. That's in every state.
and it like senior year, it was something that was talked about a lot, because like the older you get, the more likely something bad could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like because like I'm sure I had it like 100%. I am sure it happens to like younger kids or something, but the older you get, like it becomes more of a likelihood that like something could happen like that. But
Yeah.
um,
And I always say I've been blessed and fortunate that all those experiences and all those stereotypes, like from your culture, I have not experienced, and I'm very glad I haven't, because let me tell you something, and I tell everybody this: if one of them tries me, they're going viral. I'm not gonna argue with them. I ain't gonna argue with them. I'm pulling out this cellular device and I'm going live. You
They
going viral
going.
with me?
They
I ain't gonna
going
play.
viral.
Oh my god! Oh my god! They call me a word. Okay, they call me. They call me this. They call me that. Okay, say it again. And what's your name? And where you work at? Okay, yeah, all right. You going viral with me? I don't do all that arguing. I don't. I don't.
Mm-mm.
That's probably why that's probably why they haven't tried me because I tell them straight up, you will be recorded and you will be going viral. I will put you on the internet. I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not gonna cuss at you. I'm not gonna scream and yell. I'm not doing. I'm not raising my blood pressure for y'all. No, I'm gonna pull out my camera. I'm gonna record you, and then you have to live with the consequences of your actions. And I'm gonna walk away. I'm not going to entertain it.
Then
Yep.
you shouldn't have to.
Yep.
But
That's
this has been a very different topic podcast. We've been all over
yeah.
the place.
Oh yeah. That's what happens with these, man. We just talk about whatever comes to mind. You know, whenever you was talking about your major, and that's what got us on this jumping on this conversation right here. A couple more questions, and then we're gonna wrap up here. It's been a great conversation. I've loved this. Next thing I got is like so like what is like y'all big goals for 2025? Are y'all looking to like potentially add any more calls to your series? And then the next
Where
follow-up question to that is
okay.
um have you had those call difficulties, like had those like people that have booking issues? Do you have any stories on that?
We'll actually get to something in a minute, but um, where was I getting at? But our made like we're adding calls all the time, like and probably to our detriment. Like I haven't really since UKW started, I haven't really like ever turned anybody away. If they're interested, I can find a way to fit people in. Like we're even thinking about starting like an NXT type show for new people when they do come in because of what I'm about to get to. We're very close to our membership goals for the channel, like the 500
Mm-hmm.
subs and the watch hours and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And all of our videos are like premiered, so super chats are kind of like a goal we've been trying to get to, and we're trying to see if that could be something that we try to hit in 2025. But
Yes, sir. I think that definitely y'all gonna get that goal. Y'all, like I said, y'all have been absolutely impressive. Um, this year, and I'm really like glad that I was introduced to you guys from J&W. I really thank J&W for that, because I've really been enjoying the content that you guys have put out there. So yeah, the second question. So like since you guys don't turn down anybody, so has there been those few calls or guys or girls
100,
that have
150%. We can get to a guy that currently has been brought back. His name's he's currently our international champion right now. He just won it at our most recent episode. I don't know if I can plug in here, but go check out.
Oh yeah, plug away. This is all about promotion. You're being interviewed to showcase what you do, so people can go check out your content. Plug it all away.
On our most recent episode of UKW, we had a PLE called Moment of Glory, and it brought back the guy I'm about to talk about, Draven. But he had some issues, like really like wanting, maybe like not being, because the booking 100% is like me, like booking the storylines and stuff. And like I've always said, I'm okay with people giving like suggestions and stuff, but also you can't be upset if I decide I want to go a different direction, because
Mm-hmm.
like it's basically I use your, like, say for example, if I had like a call of yours and I decided I wanted to like it's a catalyst. It is your call, and you could tell me like where you want your character to be at. But if I don't see that, like for example, say you wanted to be the world heavyweight champion. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not 100% down with doing that maybe right now. Let's see how what I can create story wise to get your character to that point where I feel like that's a logical choice to have him in that picture. And we had just had some real back and forths whether or not he didn't like the content I was like where I was putting his character. I didn't like the content he was picking, so it was a continuous like back and forth, and it got to a point where the person he was in a storyline with him and they had both gotten an argument in the Discord, so I just thought it was better just to have him leave for a little while. But we've recently decided he came back, and we're making it basically like a storyline because I had a triple threat planned for
Mm-hmm.
Pinnacle. Like I said, Pinnacle 2, that was our big event. We had a triple threat planned, but he was in it, but it got turned into a one-on-one. So now we're finally building to the original triple threat. So um, I have
Wow,
good
man,
ideas for that. But
that's
like
crazy. But yeah, go
we've
ahead.
even had we've even had like people like even recently as today of the recording of this video, we've had some a guy I had to kick out because he said some racial stuff towards some of the other members in the Discord. And I just don't in a different Discord, um, in an SWW Discord, like I'd mentioned them earlier. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't like that stuff at all. Like if
Oh,
you
I don't play that. Mm-mm.
nah
I don't care who you is. You gone after that.
no
I don't
because
play that at
I
all.
don't like even as a person that's not a person of color, like it's about people being comfortable in my Discord and people being comfortable with my content and stuff. And if they see people that they know say stuff like that, they're not comfortable at that point.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you as a person of color, and if you would have like kept them in there, I'm gonna be honest, most people probably would have asked to leave because they
Mm-hmm.
don't want to confront that person and make it like a big argument in your server. So probably people would have been like, respectfully, I don't want to be here because this guy said this stuff and he feels this way about my kind, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to cause a ruckus, and they probably would have excused themselves. Um, so you were right to confront that issue there and say, okay, you got to go. You know, especially if that's how he feels about people. You don't
That's what
need
I was.
that toxicity.
That's what I was saying. And like even if it didn't happen in my Discord, like the dude that runs the SWW Discord, I respect a lot. And if he felt like he didn't deserve to be in his, then he doesn't deserve to be in mine either. That was my thought process for it.
Bingo, bingo. You did right, bro. Great on you for that. Um, but before we wrap up here, I'm through. I don't got no more questions. Plug away. So tell people like the social medias that you guys have, and make sure you don't forget to send me all your social medias and your Discord link. So if anybody's interested in joining the call show, we do have some of our CTP calls that call people, or probably will be watching this podcast. And if they're looking for a new home or looking for another home within, they absolutely have every right to go join. And you said you're taking new people all the time. So if you guys love this podcast and you guys like what Kaz and his crew are doing, please, one thing I want y'all to do, definitely, even if y'all don't want to join the show itself, go subscribe to my man. You know, like I said, he has some of the best content along with J&W on this platform, in my opinion. I think those two are the standard barriers. Like of the small creators, I think they're the top two small creators on this platform that do call universe modes. So absolutely, if you're subscribed to J&W, you should definitely go subscribe to Kaz and United Kingdom Wrestling. You're missing out if you're not there. Let's get him. Let's get that 500 subscribers for him. I would really appreciate if y'all can hit that for him for this spring. Secondly, y'all go follow them on social media, which Kaz will plug all his social medias away right now, and the links will be in the description down below and in the pinned comment if y'all don't hear to the end of this. So Kaz, where can we find anything dealing with y'all call show?
Okay, so on the main two platforms that we mainly are on are X and just YouTube. So on X, you can find us at UKW or UKW Pro Wrestling, and on YouTube, it's just UKW Pro at UKW Pro, and
Mm-hmm.
then in the search bar, it's just United Kingdom Wrestling. So
Okay,
um,
so he will send those links to me, and that will be in the description down below, and then that will also be in the pinned comment down below. Once again, Cass, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and day, and during this holiday season as we were recording this, to um record this podcast, sit down with us here on the Train Talks podcast. This is the first Train Talks podcast of 2025. I want to personally, if you guys, depending on if this comes out on January 1st or 2nd, I want to personally wish you guys a happy new year. Welcome to 2025. It is going to be a great year. I feel like for the entire Universal community, I feel like for everybody in general, it's going to be the year that you get everything that you deserve and more. That's what I manifest for everybody that is watching this podcast. Trust the process and everything will fall into place. But if you are new to this channel and you're just joining us here in the new year, make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe to your channel down below, and turn on those post notifications. Make sure you guys stay tuned to our community tab so you don't miss a single thing that for updates for all of our series from AEW, Collision, ROH, Universe Mode, New Age, My Mode, etc. Make sure you guys do all of those things and watch the community tab, like the community tab, and comment on those community tab posts. Make sure you guys follow my social medias. You can find me on Twitter at Coach CTP underscore 2025. You can find me on Instagram at Coletrain 2018. You can find me on Snapchat as well at Coletrain 2017. You guys still got Snapchat. You can find me on Facebook under the page Coletrain Productions if you guys have Facebook. We also have our own Discord channel, which will be linked in the description down below. Go join our Discord server if you're from Kaz's channel and you're interested in joining CTP. Y'all can follow my social medias, join our Discord, and I'll get your information and we'll get you in the CTP series. We are taking applications for calls as well. If you're watching this from UKW, and be phenomenal and be forgotten. Not just saying it's the way of life. Y'all have a great day, great week, depending on whenever this comes out, and a great 2025. Cheers, 2025. Kaz, you got anything else you want to say before we walk or before we get out of here?
nah, I think that's about it, brother.
All right, man. This has been the Train Talks podcast. I've been your host, Coletrain, and we will see you guys in the next Coletrain interviews. Peace out, y'all.